Perhaps no artistic medium has acted as a more accurate cultural barometer than the popular song, charting the nation's passions and pastimes with color and immediacy.
A great song will transcend genre, it will transcend time, it will transcend the artist that first popularized it.
We can't underestimate the importance of these artifacts of our lives, really.
Our memories are made up of songs. The songs we knew as kids, the songs we had with our girlfriends or boyfriends. They call it the soundtrack of America.
Nearly every song that became part of that soundtrack, including Take Me Out to the Ballgame, was crafted by some of America's most talented composers and lyricists. And between 1885 and 1935, they were employed by the publishers of Tin Pan Alley.
I bid you welcome.
In 1922, a German, Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau, directed the film The Plague Carrier, or Nosferatu. It was a marriage made in heaven and hell. Dracula. Few figures are so well known and strike as much terror as that of the vampire known as Dracula. This creature, not yet dead but no longer alive, has at one time or another tempted, fascinated, and repelled us all.
More Wolfbane. More effective than Wolfbane, Count. Indeed.
Why are we here? What are we a part of? What is this great activity called life, of which we're just a tiny piece?
The questions don't go away. Questions that only human beings ask. Who am I? Where did I come from? What's the meaning and purpose of my existence? Do I have a soul? Does God exist? If God exists, then does God, he, she, it care about me? Why should he or she? I'm a little microbe and a piece of cheese in the junkyard of infinity.
On July 14, 1919, French, British, and American troops paraded down the Champs-Élysées in Paris, celebrating their triumph in the bloody trenches of World War I. But one American regiment was missing from the Allied ranks. It hadn't been sidelined by injury or a poor service record. In fact, the 369th Infantry was one of the most decorated regiments of the war.
They fought without replacements. They fought 191 days on the front line. They never lost a foot of ground. They never lost a soldier as a prisoner.
The men, nicknamed the Harlem Hellfighters, were excluded for one simple reason. They were black.
Blacks expected as soldiers that they be accorded a certain kind of respect that went with the uniform, that they would be treated like other men in uniform, like whites in uniform. But that was not the case.
Confronting that racism, the Hellfighters' determination on and off the battlefield would become legend and inspire generations to come.
When you were a young black kid growing up in America, my generation in the 40s and 50s, what could you look at that was heroic? 369th was something that was heroic. It was fighting 369th. It demonstrated in battle that black men could do anything that white men could do. And if that's the case in the field of battle, how could it be otherwise in the field of medicine or engineering, teaching, or anywhere else?
Are you ready, Norma?
He was unmistakable. With his suave demeanor, impeccable wardrobe, and bullet head, on screen, Erich von Stroheim played sadistic and sometimes seductive Prussians.
Von Stroheim was somebody who presented himself as so solid, such a force of nature, that when he came onto the scene, you didn't have to say a word, and you somehow have to respond to this man.
As a director, von Stroheim earned a reputation for unparalleled egomania, arrogance, and self-indulgence.
His constant changes of story, his never being satisfied with sets, his almost obsessive detailing of things, whereas that's one of his great strengths, it also became his greatest liability. He just was not a great businessman. He was a great artist.
Though he was fired by nearly every studio he worked for, and most of the films he directed were finished by others or destroyed, What Remains offers a glimpse of one of Hollywood's pioneers, one whom everyone loved to hate.
In every archaeologist, there is this, will I find in this next day extraordinary thing? And when I was digging in Sicily, I would just begin to quiver when I saw that something was coming up. You just know it. After a while, you get a sixth sense, you know. You start to go slower and slower, and you find the lovely little statuette. You know it. Your body begins to tremble.
While Hollywood has captured the potential for adventure and danger in archaeology, in reality, archaeologists rarely lead lives filled with great risk, incredible drama, or fabulous wealth.
There's a significant difference between the life of Indiana Jones and what most Egyptologists or other archaeologists do. You can't go in there and say, today I'm going to come back with gold and jewels beyond the dreams of avarice. It just doesn't work that way.
There are billions of people on the planet and many different personality types. Some people are introverted, some extroverted. Some are driven by logic, and others by their feelings. In a world of such diversity, how do we learn to relate to those who are different? And how do we learn to understand and accept who we are?
People have a desire to know themselves. People want to know, who am I? How do I function? How do I tick?
These questions were at the heart of the pioneering work of Dr. Carl Gustav Jung, a Swiss psychologist who began working at the turn of the 20th century.
Every culture has certain classical, typical behavior modalities, like the hero. You can go from east to west, north to south. You can recognize a hero. You can recognize a soldier. You can recognize a healer.
These behavior patterns, or archetypes as Jung called them, help us quickly and comfortably size up other people.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Even at the movies, once we've identified someone as an archetypical hero, we can better predict his behavior.
The whole idea of Darth Vader and the whole idea of archetypal evil and Luke Skywalker as the young hero, these are mythological themes.